Good afternoon and welcome to 1111 Collaborative with today's guest, Sheila Welch, who leads a caregivers ministry at Due West United Methodist Church. So I'm Robin Andrews Smith and a transitions coach currently collaborating with Orchard at Brookhaven, and we want to continue to invite you into a conversation and a community. Today's topic is entitled Counterintuitive. So before we get started and learn a little more, I'd like you to grab a pen or pencil and I want you to write down Saturday, September 22nd. And after this share, you may want to register at duewest.org, because my hope is that as we talk to my guest Sheila, that you are going to receive the wonderful gift she is about to offer you and take her up on a very special day. So Sheila is a ministry leader and runs several caregiver support groups in Marietta, and she is also a positive approach to care certified trainer. You're going to learn a lot more from Sheila in time. So welcome, 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 Sheila.
Thank you, Robin. You know I love talking to you.
So my hope today, Sheila, is that we are going to catch a few of our viewers right there on the edge of that tension, that counterintuitive feeling that keeps many of us sort of stuck when we are about to enter that second half of life relationship with someone that we are taking care of. So can you share a little bit about the aha that you had along the way in your journey and what led you to kind of pushing through that counterintuitive feeling to reach out to others and to learn more?
I would love to. I want to share a story that has come to be a cornerstone of the caregivers ministry that I lead at Due West United Methodist in Marietta. It has to do with protecting ourselves. And this is what happened to me one day before my father had died, before my mother had died. My father was in the hospital, and we were waiting anxiously word from surgery about him. My brother and I were sitting with my mother, who was in her 7th year of living with dementia. And I left for just a few minutes, stepped just a few yards away to a little hospital gift shop where I received one of the greatest gifts of my life. And that was this. In that shop, there were 3 women talking. One of those women, and the shop was small, I could hear every word. One of those women said, "Daddy does not know how to cook a thing. Mother cannot buy groceries, much less cook anymore. I'm taking all of their meals over there." The next person said, "Well, at least your daddy is not accusing you of stealing everything that he owns. It hurts my feelings so terribly." And the third person said, "My mother accuses my dad of having affairs every single day with every woman that happens to walk by, making his life miserable. He's just battered." And I could not get over to those 3 women fast enough. They did not know me at all, but I knew that I had a great deal in common. And I just said, because I'm not shy, I said, "I know you don't know me, but could I just talk with you a little bit? Could I be a part of your conversation?" I was hungry for conversation. No one else in my family at that point had been diagnosed. Since then, we have had 9 members diagnosed. But at that point, I was a babe in the woods and flying by the seat of my pants. And again, in the 7th year of mother's illness. So I was desperate. And one of the women said to me, "Don't you worry that your daughter will have to take care of you?" And that was a really heavy question, and I'm all about lightening the moment if possible. So I said, "Well, I'll tell you what I told my daughter." I said, "Just find me a place, clean, no snakes, no spiders, and just leave me." And we laugh about that. And two of those three women actually laughed at that story at that moment, but one of them didn't. And she was very, very serious. And she looked at me and she said, "I'll tell you what I told my daughter. Protect yourself." And I listened, but I didn't understand her. And the others seemed to understand. And they said, "Oh, yes, protect yourself. That's good for her to know." I didn't have a clue what she was talking about. So a few sentences into later conversation, I asked Jane, this woman's name is Jane. I said, "Jane, could we just go back for a second? Can you explain to me what you mean, protect yourself?" And she said, "What I mean is, I want my daughter to do whatever is necessary to keep her from becoming consumed in the caregiving." I listened to the words, and as I walked out of the door, I remember thinking, I still don't think that's right, because my mother is the one who needs protecting. I will honor her biblically, and I will sacrifice for her as she has sacrificed for me. And I went on with my duties as caregiving for about 3 more months. And then my father died, and I immediately became primary caregiver. I knew deep in my bones what Jane was talking about that day. I could quickly become consumed in the caregiving of my mother had I not received that gift that day. And I knew that I had to do something differently. I began reading everything that was available, which at that time was not a great deal. Mm-hmm. The one thing I could use was the 36-hour day, and I certainly read that. And it was of great help. I needed more. So fast forward to several years later, after my mother had passed away, I was then asked to come and talk to a group. I realized how much that group needed what I needed: dementia education, support. And that's when I became convicted that I was going to do everything I could to help others live their journey differently.
Wow, Sheila. That is, it's so many people that actually are in the educational spectrum, I find came out of a personal story like that. And, it's truly, if you think about it, we can't really give something to someone else that we don't have for ourselves. And so when you talk about, protecting, taking care of yourself, you technically are your instrument when you're in caregiving. And so that balance, I think I've heard you talk, and other teachers now, about the idea that we're care partnering instead of caregiving. And that in itself almost holds this space for equally, taking care of both of our instruments, if you will. So I'd like to have you share a little bit more about the conference with our viewers. So I just have a short time here, but I have been 2 years now, I think, and this is your 7th annual conference. So give everyone just a little taste of what they can expect on Saturday, September 22nd.
Okay, the first thing you can expect is a welcome, and our goal, I hope you can feel as soon as you get out of your car, I hope that you can feel the hospitality. I hope that you will receive the hope and the inspiration and the dementia education that is offered that day. And speaking of dementia education, I mentioned the 36-hour day just a few seconds ago. Dr. Peter Ravens, a co-author of the 36-hour day, will be our first speaker of the day. This is a day of, as I said, hope and help and inspiration, and particularly dementia education. All caregivers, professional, family, all caregivers are invited to a day of a beautiful lunch and a free event.
Well, thank you so much. And if you're interested in joining, please go to dowest.org to register. You can also find a flyer to download about the event on our website. And if you want to, please post any comments and hit the subscribe and the bell if you want to be alerted about future posts. And thank you again so much for coming, Sheila. And I look forward to seeing you very soon here on 1111 Collaborative.
Thank you, Robin.